Our newest legendary is here. Diamant is here to shake up the meta and possibly be a counter to it. Let's go ahead and jump in and start off with his preference weapon, Fortified Axe. So this has Slaying, and then he's going to have Bulwark, Neutralize Penalty Support, and most importantly, he can change the speed difference needed to make a follow-up attack by 10. So we've seen this before on Diamant himself, like his older versions. Essentially just makes it so that it's more difficult to actually double Diamant, which is a pretty powerful effect. We then have like your average stats of 14, we have average true damage of 25, he has 2 layers of flat DR in his weapon, one based off just normal attacks, and then one based off of the foe procs their special, and then also he has special acceleration, meaning he's going to have an easier time proccing up those specials if the foe doesn't have guard, and then he also gets to heal 7 HP per attack during combat. Overall, his weapon is pretty average, I would say. There's nothing in here that's like overall crazy insane, but he does have some key effects that do really help him out, such as the bulwark support and that speed difference, which will come up a lot more later on. We then have his preference skill, Fair Fight. So what this is essentially going to do is he either has a bonus active on the foe, or if his defense is greater than the foe's defense, he's going to get a dual phase Brave attack. Very powerful, amazing there. He's also going to get average stats of -5 on the foe to all stats. He's going to get 25% true damage based off his defense, but not with AoEs. He's going to get 25% flat DR based off his defense, so a little bit higher than average, and it includes AoEs, which is really big. And then also, if the foe uses a Brave attack, he gets an additional 25% flat DR, which is actually really powerful and something that's going to come up in a second. But then he has the typical Diamant effect, where essentially he has an effect that not only occurs on the foe, but also himself. So it's kind of a way to like make a fair fight in quotes, right? And so what this is essentially going to do is that both the foe and Diamant will negate all pierceable damage reduction. They're also going to have full no follow-up on both sides. And then you're also going to increase the speed difference necessary to make a follow-up attack by 20 on both sides as well. And then lastly, if he initiates combat, he's going to get a special jump of 2, making it just easier to proc that Arch Rival special. That's right, we already have Arch Rival back again. We just got this on Baldur and it's already back. This has been one of the most powerful specials we've seen. It's already had quite an impact on the meta, so getting another option of it is amazing. Though it is on a legendary unit, so it isn't the easiest thing to get, but either way, seeing more of it is always nice. But then lastly, we have a new Inheritable A skill, Distant Bonus Amp. What this is going to do is you're going to get Distant Counter, and then you're going to get a bonus to all stats based off the number of bonus effects active on unit times 2. So you get up to max of 8. So that's really good. It's essentially like a prime skill, but better, right? Instead of getting like 9 to 2 stats and then having a conditional Distant Counter, you always get to have Distant Counter, and then a good chunk of stats as well. This skill is infantry locked, so that is pretty interesting there. You can't use it on like armors per se, but overall I do think this is pretty powerful, and there's going to be a lot of units who do want this skill. Okay, let's talk about Diamant overall. When it comes to this role, he's mostly a nuke and a tank. Mostly a tank overall. Then he has, when it comes to game modes, he's gonna mostly be an arena unit. Obviously, he is like, you know, Earth Legendary, but I think he's honestly powerful enough where he could show up in summer duels, Ether Raid's defense, and maybe even offense. And the reason why is that Diamant is an anti-meta unit in a lot of ways. And I don't think it's very clear unless you really analyze his entire kit. So the big thing about Diamant is that overall, he's gonna have 35 speed to get doubles, right? You're gonna have a 35 speed check. 5 normally, then 10 from his weapon effect, right? And then 20 from his preference B slot. That means you have to have 35 more speed than Diamant, and Diamant isn't exactly slow. You can see his stats here. What this means is it's gonna be very difficult to actually double Diamant. And so in order to kill him, you're probably gonna be relying on Brave weapons, right? Or like maybe an Erica Emblem ring, right? But the thing is, he gets additional flat DR against Brave attacks. So he's actually very well built to take on those Brave attacks. And so if you can't double him and you can't get full damage out of your Brave, he's going to actually be a pretty difficult unit to kill. So this is actually a very anti-meta effect because Brave is very big in the current meta. So being able to turn that off, being able to turn off follow-up attacks, being able to lower the damage of Brave attacks is very big for a tank, right? And hitting himself is pretty fast, and he has Brave, so he can kill things with his own Brave attacks. So pretty interesting there. But I think the big thing that a lot of people are going to miss is that this unit is also anti-reflex. That's right, he's anti-reflex. So this might seem weird because he doesn't have an effect that says turn off reflex damage. But if you understand how reflex damage works, essentially the way it works is you attack into the unit, they attack back, and then you take that damage you reduced and you throw it back in their face. But if you can't make a follow-up attack, how are you supposed to use reflex damage? You can't, right? That's the crazy thing. And so if you can actually just turn off follow-up attacks, right, that's massive. Essentially, it will turn off reflex, but you're not losing any of the great effects that you want on Diamant. Because a lot of the ways you turn off reflex nowadays is just you take distant counter off your save or your tank, and then they can't counterattack, and that way they don't get reflex damage. But with Diamant, you actually get to keep distant counters. You can still kill the enemy, right? They just can't really attack into you without dying. So that's a very big, powerful effect to have on your frontline tank. He also does have Bulwark, which means that he's going to be pretty strong as a frontline unit. He has Brutal Tempest, which means he can actually go out and kill things and then come back to the team. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with this unit. Now, the thing is, of course, we have to actually see him in action, right? We need to do some testing to see if he can survive key matchups. And the key matchups, of course, will be, young Camilla, Emblem Erica, possibly Brave Violet as well to see if he can win those matchups. But if he can stack enough speed on him, which I don't think will be too difficult, right? Because he has the 35 speed check, he can essentially make it so that Camilla can only kill him if she can use an Erica ring and actually kill him those 2 hits, which will be really interesting. The other big thing, of course, with Diamant is that he has a massive defense stat of 51. Very high defensive stat. And why this actually matters is because we have a very cool effect called Frozen. And Frozen essentially makes it so that it becomes more difficult to double unit based off of defense again. And he has very good defense and speed. So when you combine this effect of 35 speed to double, and then you also add Frozen on top of it, a lot of these nukes are just not going to have the ability to either stack enough speed and defense to actually double Diamant. And if you can't double him, I think you're going to have a very difficult time actually killing him. And he heals a ton, so even if you do chunk him pretty hard, he'll be able to, heal up 14 to possibly 28 HP per combat. That's not insignificant. So I'm overall pretty high on this unit. Now, obviously, once again, this is with a big asterisk. This is just my first reaction. But I do think Diamant could be a powerful unit and possibly a very powerful meta unit. If he survives the cam matchup, he's essentially instantly meta and will be used in summer duels and probably ether rates as well. Now, with all that said, let's move on to the rest of the banner. So when it comes to the color preference for this banner, all the shares are actually pretty solid, but I'm going to start off with green. And the reason why is green just has Diamant in it, obviously. So you're getting a lot of power right there. You're also getting Emblem Lin, so if you don't have the Emblem Ring, that's a lot of value for your account. Lin Ring is very meta currently. Also, you get Lin herself if you don't have her, and she's pretty useful. She's definitely not as powerful meta as she was when she came out, but she's still pretty good. You also get Fallen Female Lear, who has great fodder, and she overall is a solid save. Not my favorite save in this current meta, but she is pretty solid. In second place, I'm going to have Colorless. You're going to get another meta unit here with Emblem Micaiah. You're getting the Emblem Ring as well, which is very powerful. But Emblem Micaiah herself is just meta in summer duels. She's amazing in ether raids. We have so much mid-turn debuffs in the meta, and having a unit who can just constantly cleanse those is really powerful. We also have Lathreder here, and I absolutely hate this unit, but he's very good. He's meta in summoner duels. He's a great way to get around things like Ichnathir or other difficult saves. He's great in ether raids defense, and he has great fodder with like Barricade, right? So just really fantastic unit there. And then we get Fallen Maria too with Fallen Lena. She can work if you want to invest into her, give her like Ice Lock and stuff, and she does offer some miracle support, so not terrible. When it comes down to the third color, I think it's going to come down to your account definitely. If you don't have the Emblem Sigurd or Emblem Celica ring, blue is very, very high value for you, possibly even the highest value, right? You're getting 2 emblem rings that you desperately need because these are both very powerful upgrades for your entire account. Not only that, you're getting decent fodder on Sigurd with momentum. Celica's fodder, not so much, but you're also going to have Fallen Dedu, who is a meta save in summer duels for those offensive teams, and he has amazing fodder and skill duplication, so overall you're just not losing in blue unless you don't need Celica and Sigurd, which might be a few people. And then lastly, we have red, and red honestly could also be like higher in your, your ranking. It really just depends on your account, but we have Emblem Erica here, who is a meta melee nuke right now. She's starting to show a little bit of her age, but she is very powerful in summer duels and ether rates, and of course she does have an emblem ring as well, and this is probably the most meta emblem ring at the moment. It's definitely something you want to have, so if you don't have Emblem Erica, definitely pull on red. We also do have Noir, Rearm Noir, so you're getting Arcane Bow, you're getting good fodder on her, right? She has like Hexblade, which is really good, and she gets to duplicate your skill, so great unit there. We also have Fallen Male Lear, who's a powerful frontliner in summer duels, and has okay fodder as well, so not a bad pickup there either. Overall, I do think that the colors are pretty good shares, and it just really depends on your account what your priority is going to be. Okay, let's move on to the Earth Legendary tier list, and this is probably about what you expect. I do think Sakura overall is just a more powerful legendary than Diamant, which shouldn't be surprising. She's like top 3 units in the game currently. The ability to just turn off cancel control with Savage is absolutely broken, and you combine that with Ice Lock and all of her other support, and you just have a broken unit. So I think Sakura is still the top of the Earth Legendary tier list. In second place, I will have Diamant though. I do think he has a lot of potential and could possibly be a very anti-meta choice, which is cool. Below that, we do have Faye and Nana. Both of them got refines this year, which helped them out a ton, and have made them very usable in like Arena, obviously, but also Summer Duels for Faye. And then A tier and B tier. A tier are like legendary units who are still usable, but they're kind of weak, not the best. Definitely usable though. And then in B tier, we have the legendaries who I just really don't recommend using, but if they're your favorites like me, then you'll probably still invest into them and use them anyways. Okay, let's move on to the final part of the video, should you pull. Now when it comes to should you pull, there's a few pros here. We have a powerful new legendary who might be anti-meta. He naturally has anti-brave in his kit. We have 4 great color shares overall. It depends on your account, which one's going to be great for you. You have amazing fodder on a lot of these units, and you need to boost your arena scoring if you do go for Diamant. Now when it comes to cons, we do have Choose Your Legends currently running. That is sparkable for anyone, and all the brave units are quite powerful. I will say some of them are stronger than others, but overall you're not going to be losing out pulling on that banner. We also have the T banner, which has 3 powerful units as well. We have possibly a new tribal seasonal banner coming up or something else, and we have a Black Knight rerun in September as well to save for. So if you don't have Black Knight, that's a great chance to pick him up, as he is one of the most meta-defining units in the game currently. So overall, my advice to you would be to wait. We don't know how strong Diamant will be without testing him for sure. So just give it a day or 2 at the least. You know, watch me do my summoning stream, watch me do my testing, see how good Diamant actually is. And then you could even wait a week or 2 until the banner's like on the last day to do your pulls. But overall, I don't think Diamant is a must pull necessarily. But if you are interested in Diamant, maybe you're a Diamant fan, then definitely pull for him. Or if you think he ends up being worth it after seeing the testing, then also pull for him there. But you do have a lot of great options of banners at the moment, so don't feel any pressure to pull. With that said, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of Legendary Diamant? What other engaged legendaries would you love to see? I'd love to hear about it down in the comment section down below. And as always, I'd like to thank all my members for their constant support. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. This has been Oblivion. I'll catch y'all later with more Fire Emblem Heroes.